wonderful.
So we, as Mantradevi said, we serve at the expanding light. So we've always been in outreach, either off property or now that we're here, we've been at the expanding light for many years. So people come to us. And so we've always sort of had our service with other devotees, people searching, coming to learn the teachings. So we teach programs. I also am the director for guest groups. Guest groups could come and hold an event here at Ananda Village, Expanding Light. And we provide lodgings, food, a meeting place. And I think it's a really nice service because people from other paths can come and experience the high vibrations of our teachings. So today's topic, deeds versus intentions, it's a really good one. It's kind of one of the ways it's kind of a barometer for how we're progressing spiritually. We could, in growing in understanding of, what our motivations are, what our intentions are, and the repercussions of those, the kind of the deeds the actions that we perform. And it's kind of a spiral staircase, you might say, in learning. So it's, it starts with many of the teachings of the major religions, like, Christianity, the 10 Commandments that tells us what not to do. Don't steal, don't kill. And the yamas and niyamas, the yamas, particularly the controls, ahimsa, nonviolence. So we could say through self-control, we do not do the wrong thing. That's kind of the beginning. And then you could evolve to do the right deed no matter what, maybe even just out of habit or because you've been taught this. Okay, that is a good thing to do. But doing the right deed for the right reason is better, and doing the right deed with the right intention, with the right spirit, that's really what we're trying to evolve into. So it's been said, it's not really what we do, but it's the consciousness we do it with which we do it. And that's really important because God watches the heart. And we could, is it better to do a good deed or the right thing for the wrong intention? Or is it better to do something thinking it's the right intention, but doesn't really turn out that well? Well, I think the latter is actually better, but we're in both at different times, depending on our level of understanding and what it is we're doing. But as I said, God watches the heart. I love the quote in the Bible where it says, 2 are in the field, they're serving, 2 are and one is taken and one is left, or 2 are at the loom, one is taken, one is left, meaning they're both in a way doing the same outward action, but where is their heart? Why are they doing it? The ones that are taken, meaning the Christ consciousness comes and uplifts them into that spirit, is what is meant there. So doing the right thing is kind of the goal, which is why meditation is very important, because meditation kind of uplifts us through our developing intuition. We need to tune into what God's will is in a certain situation, so that we could be guided by that will and not ego will. And I think that's what it's meant, this reading today. It's kind of transcending egoic consciousness and striving to perceive, understand, even if we don't understand, if we perceive what we think is right, the right thing to do, then we should do it. And that intention will be good. So good intentions, though, that saying is the road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's kind of seems kind of harsh, but what's meant there is we need to really understand and what our intentions are. So we have to make that effort to tune into what God's will is. Like this example in the reading where Yogananda was having that class with Sri Yukteswar on Patanjali, and a mosquito was, as he says, drilling its hypodermic needle into his thigh, and he raised his hand to execute the thing, and but he stops. That's self-control, not to do the wrong thing. But then Sri Yukteswar says, finish the job. And Yogananda says, Master, do you advocate, killing? And he says, no, not at all. But in your mind, you had done the deed. So it really starts in the mind. And I had this Whispers from Eternity reading that we usually start with. And this is a good one. It says, O Heavenly Trinity, Om Tat Sat, God the Eminent Father, or God the Transcendental Father, God the Immanent Christ Consciousness, and God the Holy Creative Vibratory Force, Om. Grant me wisdom to know the truth, and through my self-effort and knowledge of the law, let me climb the precious ladder of realization. To stand at last on the shining summit of attainment, face to face with the one Spirit divine. Grant me wisdom to know the truth, and through my self-effort. So that's how we grow, through repeated attempts. I love the quote in the Gita where it says, I lost it. Anyway, your shortcomings are forgiven. What we do right is registered. What our faults and deficiencies are made good by God if our attitude and if our attempt is sincere. So that's what Yogananda says is God, the two most important qualities. And I love questions like that because you search for the reason, the answer, and it could be different answers, of course. But for this, he said sincerity and devotion. Sincerity and devotion. That's how we climb the ladder. Be sincere, with all your heart, your mind, your soul, your strength, to try to tune into God's will and do God's will. And through that, God will, as I said, forgive our misunderstandings and shortcomings because our intention is there. However, Kriyananda talks about intention is good, but intention is defined more or less by wishes and desires to do the right thing. He says resolution is more important, and that we act on those wishes and desires and be resolute in our attempts to do God's will. And in a way, no matter what we do, with that, because with resolution comes determination, perseverance, stick-to-itiveness, steadfast on this climb of consciousness. And so in a way, whatever we do, whatever happens, we'll learn from that. And God watches the heart in the process. And so in a way, we learn from our mistakes. We learn from our shortcomings. But if we didn't do anything, we wouldn't grow and learn through that. There's a beautiful story, and you may have heard it. It's in the Indian tradition, and a woman, through her dedication and faith and duty, every day goes and gets water in these two pots on two poles, and she walks down this path. One of the pots is cracked, and the water drips as she walks. And And along that track of the where the water hit the dry earth, flowers grew. And she didn't even know that and wasn't even necessarily carrying the water for that reason. But her faith and devotion and her dutiful, service, doing it for selflessly, produced these flowers. And she didn't even know it. But from it came beauty and gave the world beauty. So in a way, if we can just proceed with the right intention, be resolute in our attempts to grow spiritually, do God's will, bring God's grace and beauty into this world through as being a channel for it, beauty will come from it. It's like the alchemy that turns sincere effort into grace and beauty and our love. So basically what we're doing on the spiritual path is an attempt to be ever more increasingly in tune with God and Guru and do their will here on earth, be a channel for it. And we can't lose through the intention and through the resolute conviction to live a life in God. God watches the heart. God will, in time, with our own effort, we grow and learn and can do better, bigger and better things, but all for God, not for the world. We do it for God. So, in the teachings of the Indian caste system, in its truest sense, there's the kshatriya. The kshatriya grows ever deeper in his understanding to serve others, get over the selfishness and self-aggrandizement, do for others. And then we grow into the Brahman consciousness of do it for God. But those two are very high states. And as we learn to do whatever we do, more and more in the consciousness of God, with God, for God, we grow and we can be channels for grace and beauty into this world.
Thank you. So everything is consciousness. God made everything on all three worlds out of consciousness. And that's what we're made of. And out of consciousness, then you have energy. And then out of energy, it manifests into the physical. So everything starts with a thought. Everything that you do begins with a thought. And now that thought is according to your consciousness. So depending on what consciousness you have, those are the thoughts that you're going to attract to yourself. And this is such an important thing to realize because your consciousness is dictating your life. And we don't even realize it. For those of you who have taken Raja Yoga and learned about the gunas are the states of mind, and they're from sattva, which is the very elevating high states of consciousness, to the very rajasic, which is very active and very in the world and conscious, and then the tamasic, which is very low energy, the couch potato kind of energy. So we're always going between these consciousnesses, and we vacillate sometimes, and it takes training. It takes over and over again. Like Krishna said, it's your intention. It has to constantly be going in that direction in order to start manifesting the higher states of consciousness. And so everything we do, you have to think, what is my intention behind this? What is my state of consciousness? And the thing is, our consciousness can be high, and gosh, those problems don't exist. And then your consciousness starts going down a little bit and going lower, And pretty soon those problems are right there again, because those problems are living on that state of consciousness. And when you raise yourself up higher, you realize, oh, how come I feel so good? How come today those problems aren't bothering me? Well, it's your consciousness. It's risen, it's higher than usual. And it's so important to start um, keeping it as high as you can. There's a school, a private school in Delhi, and it's owned by the Jain people, the Jain religion. It's bought with old Jain family money. It's a $5 million complex. And one of our members who lives in Pune right now, her parents are this principal of this school. And she, so how they get new students. So what they do is every year they invite students who are interested in being at the school, they invite them and their parents to the school. But they don't put out enough chairs for everyone. And so as people come in, they watch the students or the students who want to be there. And they notice some students come in and they notice that there aren't enough chairs. And so they go get another chair and they sit down. Or maybe they've already sat down, they look around, they get up and they go get another chair. Other students come in, sit down, and stay there. So who do they pick to be in the school? The kids who go get another chair. That's how they interview the kids. I'm sure it's a little more involved than that. The kids are being interviewed and they don't even know they're being interviewed. So, and this is God all the time watching us, you know? Do you go get a chair, or are you the one that just plops yourself down in the front? And so it's like our consciousness is always there to be read by everyone, especially God. And we need to just constantly be developing that. And okay, here's intention. One is, this is a lesson I learned when we lived in Dallas, actually. And it was one of my first leadership positions. I was just learning. This is 30 years ago. And I wanted to do everything right. So I'd always go, how would Swami do this? How would Master do this? I want to do it right. And I was a little rigid. And it's like I wanted me to do everything right, and I wanted everybody else to do everything right. And Swami came down to visit us, Swami Kriyananda, and he I don't know how he knew, he just seemed to know. And one day he said to me, he said, Mantradevi, he says, remember to go by the spirit, not by the law.
Letter.
Yeah, by the letter of the law. And I've remembered that all my life, because it's like, okay, go by the spirit of it. We didn't have to do everything like to the letter exactly, but you have to balance that, doing something according to the spirit, but also according to what's right and according to how God wants it done, or how we think God wants it done. And another aspect of that is tuning into the different laws that we do have to obey, the physical laws. Like everything is made on its level. Physical laws, if you don't take care of yourself, you're going to suffer for it. If you don't eat properly and keep all the physical laws in order, then you suffer that way. But spiritually, if you don't go by the spiritual laws, you'll suffer mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So, as Jesus said, when they said, okay, should we pay the taxes? They came to him and they were trying to trap him. They're always trying to trap him into saying, something that would convict him, basically. And they said, then should we pay the taxes? The Pharisees are saying to him. And he says, well, give me a coin. And he looks at the coin and he sees Caesar's picture on it. And he says, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Render unto God what is God. So it's like, okay, you have to deal with life on the level that it is. But if you live on a high consciousness, then you're going to find that things just come along. They go according to how they need to go. And if you can accept it at that level, then you can do something about it. Just like in it was the affirmation this morning, when you say, accept how it is, and then you can change it. So you accept it, work with yourself. My chiropractor, who's an amazing man, he's in his mid-80s. It's like he's 70, and he has great energy. And he said to me the other day, he said, I found that when I have the intention to do something, it takes me about a year and a half for it to manifest, like for it to not manifest, but for it to be a firm thing in my life. And the example that he used was, he said, I decided to eat 70% alkaline. And so he said, that didn't happen right away. But after about a year and a half, he said, I realized I'm eating about 70% alkaline in my diet. And, when I thought about that, I thought, yeah, isn't that true? And it's not something that should make you feel, oh gosh, it takes so long for anything to manifest. No, this is a process of you working towards something, having the intention. Have the intention you're going to meditate an hour a day. Okay, it doesn't happen right away. But then about a year and a half into it, you find, hey, I'm meditating that long now. And that's what is really now part of my life. So it's like it takes a long time to go one direction, takes a long time to turn around and go the other direction. But if you keep putting energy into it, you find, oh gosh, I'm much more closer to my goal. It's taken a long time. But so let's see, what else do I want to say? But most importantly, live for God and put God more importantly into your life. Because as we try to do what is the highest and go with our highest consciousness, we'll find that life follows that people feel that people are looking at you and saying, you're different now. What are you doing that's different? What is your consciousness? Because negativity and positivity both have a momentum. And when you're going one direction with negativity, then it has a momentum. If you're going the different direction in positivity, then it has a momentum. And your goal should be to never, ever say anything negative. Now, you say, well, yeah, but I have to, be discriminative. Of course we do. We not judgmental, but discriminating what is right and what is wrong. But the difference between that and judgmentalness is that you have an emotional response to a judgment. And then you're saying, oh, that person is that way and I don't like it. You can say, well, that person is that way and it has no effect on you. Then you're just looking at things in a truthful way. So, do you think that God doesn't see our egos and see our problems and see all that? Of course, he made our egos. And that's what we forget sometimes. We forget that God made us. So he knows every single emotion and response that we'll ever have. And when we share that with God, we say, God, help me with this. Don't think that he's not going to. He hears every single prayer, Yogananda said. But the prayer that he hears the most is the sincere from your heart prayer. And that's the one that he responds to. So that's what's important in our life, is to live for God and to live in a way that he feels your heart is going towards him. And that's what he looks at. You know, Krishna said to his most advanced disciple, Radha, he said to her one day, he said, Radha, do you practice yoga? And she said, oh, my Lord, I would love to practice yoga. I would really want to, but I can't stop thinking about you long enough to practice yoga. And he just smiled. That was the answer he wanted to hear. You know, and that's what God hears. God, I love you, even though I'm being bad. Even when you're being bad, share it with God. And then when you're being good, have a party with God. Bring God into everything. Say, God, you are the most important thing in my life, and I love you with all my heart. And so when it's time to leave your body and go back to God, he'll meet you in whatever form you love the most, and he'll be happy with the progress that you've made. So let's all just love God and love God in each other, for that's what's most important. So God bless you all.
Thank you so very much for sharing. I'd like to open this up now to anyone online. You can open your microphones if you're online and make comments, ask questions, or just say hi to longtime friends with us. Or anyone here in the temple, we have the microphone back here. So comments, questions? I'm going to say y'all look good.
Hey, thanks. You guys, you are too.
30 years later, y'all still look good. I had to break the ice, right? Oh, here's Linda.
Hi.
Hi, Linda.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, I just wanted to share. I had a really interesting dream the other night that I've been thinking about ever since then. And in this dream, I was above and behind myself, walking myself, just watching myself move the world.
Oh.
And I realized that even though I was paying attention to what was happening, like this is what I'm seeing happening, what I wasn't seeing was the things that weren't happening, like things that were just being sort of cleared out of my path and being resolved around me without my necessarily being aware of it. And I've been pondering that ever since. And I think sometimes we have to remember that the things that God is taking care of, things that we're not even aware that it's being taken care of. It's a problem that didn't happen. You know, it's the car that didn't hit you, you know, or the whatever that never occurred, and you're just not aware of it. But yet, you know, sometimes that's even more important. So anyway, I just thought I'd share. I thought that was fun.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Linda. Isn't that so true? God is working overtime for us and we don't even know it.
I love that dream. I had this, I was an old fan of Popeye, when we were growing up, because he was a righteous man. He was, he did everything right, he was dharmic. So, Olive Oil, there was a scene where she's walking in the city and is a construction site, but she's sleepwalking. And she steps onto a beam and the beam goes up, with a crane. She's walking along the beam and then it meets another beam and she walks onto that beam and and then it steps down to another one and then the other beam goes down on the ground. She steps onto the ground. She's still sleepwalking, through that, which could have certainly killed her easily. But I was thinking that's a bit like us. We are semi-awake really compared to the masters, and there's stuff happening around us all the time. And through the grace of God, and the more we live attuned to and try to tune ourselves to master, I think that protection is happening around us all the time, and things we're not even aware of. So it's a beautiful thought to think about.
Yeah, I often think about what I'm not aware of, right? So we're in the moment, being as aware as we can be in the moment by the grace of God. And then this thought will come in from left field. It's like I wasn't even thinking about this or that person. And here comes the thought. And it's like I pause and say, well, where did that come from? Am I supposed to be tuning into this? And then I say, Lord, you need to help me. I got too many thoughts. And he says, there you go. Too many thoughts. And what do we teach in meditation? And you just do your best to learn, even in daily living, to have that inner focus, that inner awareness, and not 10 thoughts going on at one time. I'm training you to live life that way. And, what is the highest priority thought? That I am one with God, and therefore behave accordingly. As Sri Yukteswar said, I think it was, right? That
Right.
if we
Learn to behave.
realized, that divine presence will then act like it. Be kind. And none of us are perfect, but I love the fact that when I don't want to say perfect, I don't care for that word too much because it pushes my buttons, because I wanted to be that long time ago, and now I don't want to be perfect. They're laughing because they know me. That now it's just, I want to be aware of the divinity and act accordingly, with all the peace and love and calmness and wisdom that we know about, all the attributes of God. Anyway, it certainly is I don't even know the word. It's a life to be lived with joy, and once we want to know God, I'm so glad Master says we're very, very, very close, because I don't want to do this for too many more lifetimes.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a very important thing, and that brings up the point of gratitude. You really have to keep realizing how blessed we are to even want to know God. And here, all of us are sitting here talking about this subject. We're looking toward God for our guide, and that's amazing. And so we need to bring into our minds gratitude, and that actually is another point that I was going to make when I was talking, was that feel gratitude. If you feel your energy starting to tank a little, and go down, thank God for something in your heart. Say, God, I am so grateful for whatever it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And just say thank you to God over and over again. Because try this right now. Sit here, close your eyes, and feel grateful for something. Okay, now feel grateful for another thing. Do 4 more things that you're grateful for. Okay, you can open your eyes. And so what happens when you feel grateful? Your energy goes up and there's no room for anything else. All there's room for is gratitude and energy going up. So try that. And after a while, that becomes your state of consciousness. That's what we're going for. So those little things that can train us.
Any other questions or comments?
Hey,
Sure.
good morning. I'm Francisco. Thank you for sharing with us today. I was there at the temple. I had to leave because my son has a baseball game, so now I'm just waiting for this.
Nice.
Yesterday I was doing some yoga class, and we were doing the pose that you're looking to the sky and say, "I'm free, I'm free." But I couldn't feel it really. Like I tried, okay, I'm free, I'm free. But in my mind, I was, yeah, but I have to go to work. I have to do the groceries. I have to. How I kind of couldn't connect to the freedom. Not sure. I know I've been in the path for a long time, but lately I think I forgot how to feel that freedom. Not sure if you could give me some thought about it so I can remember.
You're not alone there, and all of us can have that sense, when we're affirming something that we don't actually realize or even feeling. But that saying, fake it until you make it. You just have to you have to put out the energy and affirm. That's what an affirmation is all about. You're affirming a truth, uh, and that truth will eventually manifest in your life, as you with repeated attempts. And sometimes we're marginal in our success, and other times we're really getting it. It's like a back two, ahead three, back two, but we stay the course, and our whole life in a way is a one big affirmation, towards living more and more in the light, more and more trying to feel God's love and be a channel for that. I love the Ananda Yoga for that reason. Like, the Jhana Shavasana, the left and right and all around, life's harmonies are mine. Like, that's the bubble we could attempt to live in. But is there harmony all around? It doesn't seem like it, but it can be for us if we're going to hold to that consciousness and stay in that bubble. And when we sort of like in a petri dish, we meet another devotee and the bubble merges. You draw that through your magnetism, and it will be true.
But also think about what you're affirming. And you say, when we affirm, I am free, what does it mean? Maybe it's too big of a step. If freedom means total liberation to you, what does I am free mean? I am free in my heart. I am free in my mind to not have to worry about all these things I have to do. So pick something that is more perhaps attainable. It's like, what is it? I am free. It's a little bit nebulous. What does it mean? So, what would be another one? What would it be something that, if instead, well, like I just said, do gratitude. I am grateful to you, God. I am grateful for all these errands you give me, for these beautiful children, for, having to take care of things. I'm grateful for that. And then I bet if you do that, you'll feel uplifted. Whereas when we say, affirm something that, well, I mean, how often do most of us feel free? We've got too much going on. And so maybe there's other things you could do that are still in the affirmation. And then that's training yourself to always feel that. And someday you'll be free. Of course, Yogananda said, if you really believe it, you're free right now. But some things, the groceries come into.
Something we to be grateful for is that we are aligning ourselves with the masters, because they always set the bar absolutely at the very top. And if they didn't, when we reach the lesser summit that they might, give the world, then we'd say, is that all there is? And there is more. But so they just give it right to the top, so that as we climb, we know, the ultimate, what the ultimate really is. They've given us that, so we don't plan what we're going to say. And I was going to speak about the laws. There's the laws of man. Okay. Man's laws aren't always just. Man's laws to some extent, need to reflect divine law, and they do, like keep the Sabbath holy. But the Pharisees said to Jesus, "You're healing people on the Sabbath. That's against our law." And he says, "If you had a sheep and it fell in a ditch, wouldn't you get it out?" That's the spirit of the law. And then there's natural law. It's all scientific. It is cause and effect, and we need to understand those laws, and we need to abide by those laws to an extent. But there's a higher law. There's God's laws. As devotees, that's what we're trying to draw and live in, God's laws. Like the woman walking along, dripping the water on the path. She didn't even know it, but she was putting out this beauty, great cause beauty in the world. And so there's like an alchemy that takes place within our own selves when we could live with our lives with seeking ever greater attunement with God and Guru and try to feel God's love in our heart. That's going to uplift everything. That, because of the greatness of your love, you are forgiven. He didn't say all the effects of the causes you've done, all your karma is forgiven. He just said, because of the greatness of your love, you're forgiven. So the God's laws transcend all other laws, and those are the laws we want to live by.
So I have a question. So wonderful to see both of you. It brings to mind all the beautiful times that we had when you were here, and just a tremendous boon in my life. And my question was about, well, really it was just a recent observation that when a person meditates twice a day, that you're not very far from when you've been in feeling blissful and free and all the wonderful 8 attributes and all that. It's like, when you're doing your kriyas in the morning, your Mahamudra, your Jyoti Mudra, all that Hong Sa and meditating, and then during the morning you're not far from that, and then you do it in the afternoon, and it's like you're never very far from living in the bliss. And it's like you're always living in the bliss that way. And so to me that's just a great boon also. And so I really appreciate what y'all have set in motion some time ago for Dallas. I was lighting the candles this morning, and I remember finding out that you had to leave when you were lighting some candles, Mantradevi, and you were all going to need to go back to the village. And it's just been so wonderful to that you got us started, and it's such beautiful process of finding a different place and getting people ready and teaching us about the festival. And I have all those notes and I read them, and it's just an amazing miracle that happened in Dallas. So, and it's important to be our highest self, not only in the beginning of the path, but in all of the path, all the way to the end. And there's always a further love, a further awakening, and a further divine friendship.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for that.
You're
And
welcome.
we came to Dallas to just continue what Swami Kriyananda started. And then you all took it on after we had to come back here, and you kept it going. And so it's so beautiful when we're all instruments for God in that way. And that's our only desire in life, is to be instruments for God in that way, because that's what makes us happy. And I'm glad you said that, Mike, about meditating more often in the day, meditating in the morning, then the afternoon. And Master said, never go to sleep without connecting with God. And so even if you're really tired, take a few minutes, say a prayer, just really connect with God before you go to sleep. And then when you get up, that's the first thing you do. And yes, it's work at first, but then, like you say, it's like living in that bliss all the time because that's what makes us happy. That's why we do it. So thank you all for carrying on and being soldiers out in the field. That's what God needs. It's so important right now. This, as we all know, don't have to tell you that right now there's so much tumultuousness out in the world, and especially this country. And we just need to be lights. Every time you meditate, it helps. Every time you send out the light, it helps.
It really does.
I just want to add on to that, that about, the bliss throughout the day. And I'll never forget this. It seems so minor, but I'm still going to say it. And this was probably 25 years ago. You guys had already left. We were already doing our best to keep, Master's work going here. And I was still in corporate America and had to drive a lot to work and back. And I was on 635. And I wasn't one of the kindest, let's say I reacted. I drove defensively, but when other people didn't, I wasn't so kind in my thoughts to them. And I won't tell you what I said because that's not appropriate. But I'll never forget this. A car did what they always do, and it came in front of me very close to my front of my car, and I tensed up, and instead of saying right, I said, "Oh."
Yes.
That you've heard this story, yeah. And it really, I just got chill bumps again because that's like one of those things, Linda, that I didn't even know was taken away from me. By God's grace and my efforts, I guess, to meditate, I don't have that reaction on the freeways anymore. When I'm in traffic, it's all okay. Even if I'm going to be late for something, which used to be a big deal if I was late. It's like those things have just melted away. And that's the grace of God. But we're putting in the effort, I think, also, so. Anyway,
Yeah. It takes training. Training. And then you all of a sudden you notice, like my doctor said, a year and a half later, you're actually doing it.
There
we go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we don't even notice that we're training ourselves. And we're training ourselves in whatever direction we want to go. It's constant training. So easy to create a bad habit, isn't it? All of a sudden there it is. And takes time, but we're all doing it.
Do we have time for more questions?
Yes, we do. If you do.
Yeah, we're here for you.
So who's online? I can't see from the back of the room here.
Let them judge
hi,
the time.
Patricia.
Let them judge the time, not us. Yeah.
Is that the only one? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Patricia, if you have anything to say, you're welcome to unmute yourself and meet, because Patricia wasn't around when you guys were here, but now she's our master gardener and takes care of the gardens and the flowers and just beautifies all of our
Just
surroundings.
A total joy and upliftment,
Oh my goodness. Well,
it's the truth.
That's lovely to hear. And thank you, ministers, for joining the group today. And thank you for your inspiring talk. It was much appreciated, your presence.
Thank you, Patricia. Anybody here? Question, comment?
But it's been beautiful, so it's not necessary. We can.
Exactly.
When I used to work, it was like, if you ever stopped 10 minutes early, everybody loved you in a meeting.
Isn't that the truth?
But it's been wonderful to visit with you, to see you, and several of us are coming to the Centennial, so hope to see you then. So.
Yeah. And some of us are staying here and
hold
holding,
the fort
holding down
down.
the fort, and then that person, me, will come later after the
Yeah.
Centennial.
Well, it's really nice having Mayatri here and Mark at the Nanda Village.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We see them pretty often. So that's nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's been our joy, and we hope to see you again here at the village or in satsang like this in the future. And we just wish the very highest and best for you on your journey.
Yes.
Thank you.
God bless you all.
Oh, okay.
Zuni,
Come to the microphone.
Want to come to the microphone?
Yes, you have to come to the microphone. Hold on, this is Zuni Lasoya.
Yeah.
Been around a long
Good
time.
afternoon, beautiful
Zumi.
souls. Thank you for your inspiring thoughts. And I have been thinking all along when I was listening that if we, there are a lot of people in the world that they think that the intentions are the right way because they have been taught by the parents and we learn by imitation. And they could be very adamant about that the righteousness that they are, and then in that kind of ignorance, I think that probably that's what the situation of the world is, because I am in my horse and my horse is the right way, and then I am not going to try to get down of it or see anything else around. So when ignorance is taking place on all those decisions, how these people can be not judged, but how you will consider it, the ignorance of having the spiritual right choices, as opposed to the one that they are living for those rules. So I don't know how you will operate, how one can operate with in a situation where everything else around you it have been done by ignorance, and they think that they had the right intentions, but they cannot see it any other way. Even it's like they are believing that they are doing the right thing, but they're
Right.
So
So the basic question
this
is,
is what do
Did you turn?
so how do you
God,
live?
How God regards us, the ignorance of I don't know how I don't know.
So perhaps it's how to stay in our center when we are really surrounded a lot by society, by family members, and things who think they're doing right but
we were
not.
talking about right intention, but it's a lot of around us that they think that they are doing the right thing, but
Yeah.
they are not. So how
Right.
in the spiritual path can we operate with ignorance? I guess I don't know.
Yeah, we get the idea. Not easily.
Not meaning the answer
Well,
is
no.
it's
Okay.
difficult.
We live in a world where people are, again, living at different states of consciousness, right? And your family, all those people around you, they've learned from their parents who learned from their parents, and it keeps being passed down, that same level of I mean, the things I learned from my parents, I have learned since they weren't right. And so that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to uplift the consciousness of this country, of this world, and it starts with us. As Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. That's what we have to do. We can't change other people, but sometimes they do change if you change. And not by telling them what to do, not by being preachy, not by being judgmental, but by being an example. I used to teach a course, it's called Inner Peace and Tranquility, How to Achieve Inner Peace and Tranquility, and giving a lot of the techniques of this path. And one woman she wrote to me afterwards. She said, Mantradevi, I'm doing all the things that you told me to do, and my husband is changing, and he had been a problem to her before. But she says, my husband is changing because she is changing. And so as she changes now, I say that's in like a marriage situation. Um, it- but when you're in a family situation like that, well, they're probably not going to change, a lot. People don't change a lot. It takes a long time to change, usually, not always. Sometimes it's quick. But you have to just keep loving them and most importantly, keep really, really fast to your own beliefs and what you believe is right. And you be the example. And so even though other people think this or that is right, just quietly don't say anything or quietly leave the room. Or if that's not possible, just only respond to them if they say something positive and uplifting. Otherwise, don't give them energy. And is that addressing somewhat, meditate more and to be centered
Is
and
Zuni saying
follow,
yes? Thank you.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, thank you for you put it.
Was that mainly her family environment or like at work or any environment in general?
Family.
Family.
She's saying
Family,
family.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and we know her very well, and she's really trying to do a great job and just be there. But I love what you said. Don't even say anything. Just be the example.
Just give them
and if
the-
you need to
give them
turn
love.
away and walk away with respect, not out of, no, can't do that. So that was, I think, perfect. And
Yeah.
she's saying thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like you to meet, she's getting ready to come in the back door. Have you all met Jocelyn Villeda,
No.
who is our administrator?
Yeah, our new administrator after Marjorie left is coming in the door. Her husband had set up all the computer stuff and TV, and they got a little 4-year-old, so
Ask her to
now
come.
she's coming.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
We'll get her
The-
to come.
the behind the
And
scenes
they
person.
have plans to come out as a family with the kiddo in intent to be to make sure they could be there. They'll be in a
nice.
tent.
In it.
Hi.
Can
We're
you,
putting you on
can
the
you
spot.
please come here?
We'd like to introduce you to Mantradevi and Krishnadas and vice versa. This is Jocelyn.
This is Jocelyn.
Hello, Jocelyn.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Let's-
Thank you for being behind the scenes and making everything run so
Yes.
smooth.
Yeah,
Thank you so
Totally.
much, and thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining. I had the honor to meet you in the YTT program last year.
Which a YTT
Yeah.
program.
Oh, yeah.
Krishnadas
Okay.
and
Yeah.
Mantradevi.
Remember,
Mhm.
you're a little far away. I can't see you.
Oh yeah, from the speaker. Yeah.
I'll put on my
Connected
glasses
to
and I'll be
Zoom.
able to see
So they
better.
can't see.
Maybe I
Oh,
can.
okay. Well, there.
There.
Okay.
Okay.
good.
Yes, now you look familiar.
That helps.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn.
Okay.
So
Nice to
Jocelyn
see you
and her
again.
husband Francisco have to play tag with their 4.5-year-old, meaning he has a ball game. So now Francisco went to do that. So she's here to take
Oh,
care
that
of
was the
us.
fellow that
Oh,
talked
I see.
earlier. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yes, and she's going to set up the slides for the class, so they really take care of us so well.
Oh, that's so nice. Huh.
And serving
Valuable.
God. Thank you
Valuable.
so much.
And
It is
the other
new.
people we can see, 2 women and a man who I don't know if we know, or do we? And I'm just not seeing you very clearly.
Why don't you say who? I'm Eric. That's Eric,
Eric.
Shaw.
Eric.
Shaw.
Eric.
And Cecilia is next to him.
Cecilia.
Hi,
And then
Cecilia.
Carolyn. Laretha,
And
can you come
Carolyn.
say hi to them? Would you mind?
And Laretha is
Well,
over there
no.
out of view. Our
They would-
beloved Laretha
Hello,
is here.
I'm
Do you
Carolyn.
all read? Okay, that's Carolyn.
Hi,
I've
Carolyn.
appreciated hearing what y'all have to say. You know, I can keep learning every day. And I've been here for 10 years, and it's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful
Excellent.
place to heal your heart.
Mhm.
And it's my place.
Isn't that wonderful?
Well said.
Hi, I'm Celia. And I didn't want to put you on the spot, but a thought that I had was like, you know, it's always about the grace of God. So I was like, well, it would have been so nice if we had that extra time before we, you know, kept going. If we could just stop and finish off with just a minute of silence to feel the presence radiating through all of us here. So that's just the thought that I had. I thought it would.
No, I was going to suggest that before we
Yeah,
uh,
that's a good way
end.
to end. Yeah,
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah. Let's do that now.
Kind of let the energy congeal, you
You
know.
don't want to? Okay. Do you all remember Laretha Booker? Was she here when
Absolutely,
you-
Laretha.
Hi,
Absolutely.
Larissa. Yes.
She's around the
sure.
corner, but she's.
Inward.
We're not going to insist that she come on camera, but
Okay,
she's
well-
waving and saying hi.
Yeah, okay. Hi, Larissa.
Hello, Laretha. So that was a good suggestion. Well, let's let the
let you
energy
close
kind of
this up.
congeal, you know, in our hearts and in the satsang that we're sharing, that we have shared today. Have some silence. And let's all feel like through our own consciousness and our own individual connection with God and Guru and the Masters, Divine Mother, that in each one of us a bright light shines at our heart center, and that light radiating outward, vibrations of love and peace, mingling together, reciprocating this love and light, making it stronger, and offering it out to the world, to all thirsty souls, to all troubled spots in the world. Let's rub our hands together, chanting Om 3 times. peace. Amen.
Peace.
Home peace. Amen.
God bless you all.
God bless you all. Okay.
Bless you.
Look forward to
Much
meeting again.
gratitude.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, dear ones.
Bye
Namaste.
bye. See you in July, Supriya.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.